Ahoy! How good's that? That is the best version of Rule Britannia I've found on YouTube. Amazing! How's everyone doing? Welcome to BBC Spews Live. Huzzah! It's 11:05 over here, 7:05 the UK. Friday neat. Get some tinnies down your neck. It makes life bearable in the hell pit we currently call Airstrip 1, the United Kingdom. Ruled by your supreme overlords in the big golden bell end churches. Because remember, as we've been discussing on X this morning, I'll cover it briefly in just a moment. If you're a frumpy middle-aged housewife who looks a bit like me, well, you get 3 years if you talk. If you say things that are a bit critical on the internet. But if you're a big, sweaty Nigerian diddler or a full-blown nonce from, Brad Alabad, and you've got the certain dusky hue about you, you do as you please, lads. You can do as you please. You can tonk a 12-year-old. That was the big story this week, wasn't it? You can tonk a 12-year-old and you only get a suspended sentence. Because that's nowhere near as bad, is it? Lucy Connolly posting disagreements with people. That's definitely worth at least 3 years in the nick, that. But a 70-year-old rattling a 12-year-old girl, yeah, it's fine. It's their culture. And if you disagree with them too aggressively, well, we might have to call you a bigot. Do you remember when they did that to the German bird? Remember the German bird who got done for that? Let me have a quick look. German woman prosecuted for attacking rapist. Oh no, I said the R word. Oop, diddler. Well, you can't have. I meant diddler. Look, this one. In Germany, 9 foreign blokes surprise sexed a 15-year-old. And a German woman found one of them online, went on his Facebook and went, "You disgusting pig." German police kicked her back doors in and sent her to jail. This is, you know what? It's sort of irritating to me that it's like we pretend that it's still a discussion. It does annoy me. Even like wet wankers like Michael Gove. I was watching that pob-faced bellend on Spectator yesterday. I mean, even he says, like, there's no serious question anymore about 2T and justice. But I think that term was coined, like, online, wasn't it? I don't think any one person can lay claim to it. I was saying that years ago. I was like, this is 2T of policing. I don't think there can be any doubt now. Like, not after hundreds, nay, thousands of cases like this. Like, they've got the bit between the teeth. The people that rule Europe and used to rule the US, are such dyed-in-the-wool fanatics that they're such adherents of the woke theology, that cult, that they can't free themselves from it. So they're completely enthralled with that idea. And that's why we've got this situation where last week in England, this week, a 70-year-old man got let off for rogering a 12-year-old. But they'll send Lucy Connolly to prison. Like, there's no discussion about it anymore. But the politicians still make out like it's a discussion. If even Pob and Jacob Rees-Mogg and all these run-of-the-mill boring former Conservative MPs are saying, like, it's not a discussion. And for the Americans watching who don't know who Pob is, I'll find you a picture of him because he's a spitting double of Michael Gove. There he is, Michael Gove. Exactly the same. Let's find a picture of Michael Gove just so I can put them alongside each other. Proper looks like him. Even in his parliamentary portrait, he looks like him. With his little cherry red cheeks and his jug lugs and his sort of weird puckered lips. So it basically got a head like an arse piece, hasn't he? But he proper looks like him. I'm just looking at some of the pictures of him online. Yeah, proper Pob looking twat. Here he is. Look, there's a good one. Everything you need to know about. There he is. Look, it's uncanny. Yeah, yeah. I can't tell the difference. If I didn't number the pictures, I wouldn't be able to tell. Just put a suit on him. It's the same picture. Put a suit on him. He should definitely dye his hair pink and wear a jumper and go to the Halloween party dressed like him. It's a mental state of affairs. So like these cases are normal. So I'll cover a few in the UK now because I've been taking no prisoners on X as usual, and there's been a few. It cannot be denied anymore. Andy Preston's been talking about the new the Labour leader. I'll be laughing my ass off if they put Millipede in charge. I'll piss myself laughing. Because think about it. Here we are, I'll share it. So Andy Preston, I like him, former mayor of Borough, but he's a good guy, independent. He said, good news for the Tories. The Mandelson crisis isn't going away and Starmer will go, but who'll replace him? Anyone tied to Mandelson is toxic, leaving Angie as the front runner. An open go for Kemi. Yeah, so most of them are tied to Mandelson, so they can't appoint them. She got done for fiddling her stamp duty. She's a thief. She's a thieving, lying, self-trimming scumbag from a council estate. As I've said, this is something that's depressed me utterly. But the failure of the working classes has been complete. And I've told you a lot this before. Don't get on your high horse about class, because we've got no right to do it. And you don't get to... And you know what's really weird? I was saying this to my missus the other day. Did you see that post with David Beckham? It's like a meme now. When they were filming the Beckhams for some daft TV show. And his wife, Posh Spice. In fact, shall I just find it? I always explain everything because I don't want to be sitting here typing like a twat while you can be, listening to someone. But sometimes it makes sense to spend 15 seconds looking for the footage rather than me just explaining it to you. So here we are. This is like a famous meme now because it's so obvious. If you haven't seen it, this is what happened. Put the volume on.
We're very working class.
Be honest.
I am being honest. I am being honest.
What car did your dad drive you to school in?
So my dad did...
No, one answer.
My dad...
What car was it?
Alright, it's not a simple answer
what
because...
What did you get your dad to drive
It
you
depends.
To school in? No.
Okay,
What
in the
car?
80s, my dad had a Rolls Royce.
Thank you.
She's just there cringing like, oh God. But the thing is,
We're
right?
very working. Simple answer.
No.
My
So
dad had a Rolls
basically,
Royce.
what I find fascinating is, and I'm sure I'll piss you off here, I'm sure a lot of my followers, some of you are going to be even more chippy than I am, because I'm chippy northern prick, but I'm not that chippy. I'm not chippy about class, right? Some of you are going to be more chippy than I am, and you're going to despise people that are posh. I get it, but that's like what socialists do. If you're not a collectivist, a radical collectivist, and I'm not, you shouldn't do that. And what I find very weird is posh people that want to pretend they're something else. There's nothing wrong with being posh. None of us chooses the circumstances of our birth. And the weird thing is, and this is what I was telling my missus about, the really odd thing about this is, my brother, because we were happy kids and we were never hard done by, we definitely weren't. We're from Middlesbrough, but we lived in a 4-bedroomed house. And it was one of the rare areas of Borough that isn't a shithole. And even though we were single parent, my nana moved in to look after us when my mum was bad. So my dad went out to work full time. My dad was a welder. Obviously, everyone worked in the steelworks in Borough. So my dad's a welder working in the steelworks. I haven't got a mum. But because we had a nice house, and we got birthday and Christmas presents, my brother tells people he's middle class. Like, I think he's inflating us there. I don't think you're middle class if you could afford to go on holiday and you got Christmas and birthday. Like, my dad didn't even have a car. He used to get a lift to work with his mate. My dad didn't even drive. My mum used to drive. She got ill when they were in the 30s and he never bothered learning. So we never had a car. Single parent. My dad was a welder. But my brother says, oh yeah, we're middle class. Whereas someone like this, whose dad had a Rolls Royce, will go, oh yeah, we're very working class. It's quite bizarre, isn't it? Like, it's quite bizarre that people like us will think of ourselves as middle class because we had a good childhood. But people like that, whose dad had a Rolls Royce, will go, oh, no, we're very working class. It's a very strange thing how they're desperate to push themselves down when they're high, and the people that are down want to go up. So I'm not having a go at anyone who's posh. But what I'm saying there is, Angela Rayner is working class. Like, Angela Rayner undeniably is from a council estate, right? Who would rather have her in charge than Jacob Rees-Mogg? Like, this is the point I make to class warrior socialist types. What you have to embrace and accept the fact is when the posh people were running everything, it was way better. David Starkey's talked about it at length. If you go back 100 years, late 1800s especially, right? Basically, in the Victorian era, we had like 20 rich families running everything. And we were better led. And it should be something, I always tell everyone to face the mirror. We need to face the mirror here. New Labour is the working and middle classes. Like, this is on us. We bleated about all these posh wankers like Jacob Rees-Mogg for so long. And then when we finally got our chance to take it, Tony Blair wasn't old money. David Cameron was. Tony Blair, Mandelson, Monkey Hanger, Angela, Lambtron, and Abbott, all these people, they are the working and middle classes, and that's what we get. So I think we should hold our hands up here. If you're right wing and conservative, you should hold your hands up and say, this is on us, this. When we got our chance, we slagged off all them posh blokes for millennia, right? When we got our chance, we went with Angela Rayner. That should be an albatross around the neck of any working class person. Like, it's unbelievable. No, I don't forget either. I remember Cameron saying Ugga Uddy. That's why he said it. That's why he said it, because he's old money. Cameron's a distant relative of the Queen. Like, he's old money, Cameron. So he was daft enough to say it. But again, he was a better Prime Minister than Starmer. This is on us. Like, posh blokes do a better job. I'd take Jacob Rees-Mogg. If we'd have had 100 Jacob Rees-Moggs running things for the last 50 years, we wouldn't have had mass immigration. It'd have been like, no, we'll take a few in to do work for us because I'm posh. I want some more pairs. But he wouldn't have went, letting 1 million cousin bummers. Like, of course he wouldn't. So this is on us this. Anyway, rant over. Don't be a class warrior if you think yourself conservative. It is stupid. I'd rather have a proper posh wanker in charge than one of us. I've never been that daft. I remember arguing in the pubs when I was 20, arguing with my mates, because they were like, the Americans do it, they go, ooh, which president would you rather go for a pint with? Like, as if that's an interesting question. And they go, yeah, I'd rather go for a beer with Obama. And I don't give a shite. I want to go for a beer with these wankers. Maybe that's something that I've embraced, being working class scum from England. I don't want them to have anything in common with me. I'm happy with the noblesse oblige. I'm happy with having an upper class. I don't want the guy running the country to have went to the same comprehensive school in Middlesbrough I did. No. I want Jacob Rees-Mogg to have been learning triple maths and Latin while we were sniffing glue behind the bike sheds. We used to have fights all the time in my school, and whenever we had a fight, it was unbelievable. The entire school used to go. The teachers used to watch. There used to be like 400 kids on the back field, like Royal Rumble. We had like the tallest bloke there was like the referee. And there'd be 400 kids chain smoking and putting bets on while two kids battered each other senseless. Like, I don't want them to have gone to the same school as me. I don't want it. I've never wanted someone like Angela Rayner running the country. Copper coils, yeah, the ginger growler, fanny like a burst mattress. I don't want that. I want posh people who are well educated. I've always said that. I want someone who went to a grammar school, who got a really, really, really good education. They should be running stuff. I don't want this yo-yo knickered slapper running the country. Why don't you put, we're going to make Mick Philpott the Home Secretary? It's ridiculous. So don't be a class wanker. Anyway, rant over. I'll go on about that all day. I said that to Andy. She's fiddled the stamp duty though. I reckon they'll go with Millipede, even though he's a mental case. I hope that happens. He said, I think he's linked with Mandelson in terms of New Labour, etc. I don't think he has any ties to him, Millipede. Because Millipede's like an out socialist, and he always has been. Whereas Mandelson and all them are like New Labour, aren't they, where they fake and pretend to be middle of the road, slithering creatures. Like I said, in a strange way, I almost prefer Millipede because he is a creature. But he's a creature because he's a dyed-in-the-wool out communist, like Corbyn. I don't know, just to me, it sits better. Like, I prefer Millipede and Corbyn to snakes like Blair and Mandelson and Brown. Like, what do you think? At least an out communist is right there for you to, win the argument against. Slithering creatures like Blair and Starmer and Mandelson. I mean, you can see that's the way they are. Proper slithering creatures who lie all the time. Like, in his own way, Corbyn and Millipede are almost honest by comparison, aren't they? They are. Hey, Trevor's gifted a membership. Grab it while the hot, boys. Help keep Neil off my balls. I might have outlived one of my nemesis, but they just keep installing new ones. I'll have to live to be 190 to outlive them all. So no, I think we'd be better off with Millipede. Millipede and Corbyn would never win an election ever, because they're honest about their intentions, and the British public aren't communist. So I prefer them. I hope Millipede gets it. I'll laugh my ass off. Don't forget to click on this video if you haven't. This one is regarding, apparently we need the snack bar boys to threaten to close the pub before the general public gets angry. It's really quite embarrassing, isn't it? I mean, it's a little bit cringe. If you're more upset about them closing all the pubs than you are about them lopping off Lee Rigby's napper, well, you want to have a good look in the mirror, don't you? You really want to shiver with shame, because that's outrageous. This is why they piss me off so much, the normies. They don't pay attention. The amount of people now, the amount of people you could walk into a pub and go, I've done it, and go like, shocking Charlie Hebdo won it. And they'll go, what's that? You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm saying about why. And this is why I've argued with everyone who's aggressively against everything Reform do. Like, even Landau was having a pop at me, the little jumped up little twat, just because he got boosted by Asmongold. Now he's straight up there, isn't he? Well, no, it's because he's got a posh accent. If you've got a posh accent, you get 5 times as many views. That's just the way it is. But he was like, oh, yeah, well, we've got principles. And I was like, how are we talking about principles when you say that you're willing to concede things to get a communist out of office? Like, it's not about principles. That's what I keep telling you. Do you want to be the most right loser in the world? If you live in a country where loads of people don't even know what Charlie Hebdo is, where you go into your local pub and say, shocking what happened to Lee Rigby, and half the people in there will go, who's Lee Rigby? Most people don't know Emily Jones had her throat slit by an elbow. Little Safi. No one knows who Safi is. Salman Abedi. That name means nothing to these people. So this is what I keep telling you. And this is why I disagree with Carl and all the very right-wing people. And I'm merely very right-wing. I would call them 3 steps to the right of me at this point. But I don't want to be the pure loser. I don't want to be like the most, this purity circles they all get into. Like, I totally agree with you that reform are wet and to take all the people that we hate. I hate that little twat, Robert Jenrick. But I want to get rid of the Tories and Labour and Lib Dems. If you look at my live streams from like 4 years ago, that was the plan. Like I said this when Boris was, because I advocated voting for him to get Brexit done. And within 12 months of Boris getting in, I was devastated and I despised the fat, porridge-faced albino, right? And Stew's give one as well. Thanks for that, Stew. Cheers, boys. I despise Robert Jenrick and I hate Boris Johnson, but I'm not interested in being the big man. Like, it's super easy and Carl will be able to, if, fingers crossed, Reform win, Carl and all the other lads and rappers will be able to go, I told you Reform were wet. Well, I know they are. But it's a choice between a punch in the face or a boot in the bollocks. Like, I'll take that. Peter Hitchens proved me wrong again. Peter Hitchens always proves me wrong. He's clever. And he said, I advocate, because think of this, right? Let me lay out my thought for you. Right. Peter Hitchens was slagging off David Cameron and the Conservatives 10 years ago. When I was saying David Cameron's a great Prime Minister, because he was slick and well-spoken, and he's got decent politics. Certainly on economics, he wasn't too bad. Like, and I was saying, oh yeah, David Cameron's great Prime Minister. Me and my mate were in the pub. He was a card-carrying Tory. Remember my mate Ryan? And we were like, oh yeah, it's gay marriage, fair enough. I'm not going to agree with everything. But he was good, and I was like, oh yeah, he's good, him. And the whole time, Peter Hitchens was saying, no. We have to kill the Tory party. We have to get rid of it forever. And I was like, Peter, you can't say that. Like, think of the alternative. So I spent 10 years disagreeing with him. And then, when I finally get with the programme, after Johnson got in with a massive, massive majority and was aggressively woke all the time, then I went, oh, okay, Peter, you were right. 10 years, you were right. I was wrong. We should have destroyed the Tories. Peter Hitchens was a visionary. He was saying the top at the top, the left-wing Tory party isn't conservative and it needs to go. He was saying this 20, maybe not that long ago, maybe 15 years ago. And I was saying, okay, yeah, Peter's wrong. And then when I finally get with the programme, he came out and said, I've been telling everyone to kill the Tories for 15 years. And now I'm embarrassed. I'm telling everyone, vote against Labour by all costs. He said, now I'm not saying I'm voting for the Tories, like specifically because I still hate them. But he said, I'm telling everyone to vote against Labour because no matter how bad Labour, no matter how bad you think you've got it, Labour will make it 10 times worse. So he said, if you're in a seat with the Lib Dems running, run for them. If you're in a seat with the Greens, go for them where they've got a chance. If you're in a seat where the Tories can win, go with them. And I was exasperated. I was incandescent. And I messaged him on Twitter and he actually replied to me. And I said, Peter, you were proving me wrong for 10 years. I finally start seeing things your way, and now you say, oh, vote for the Conservatives. I said, what are you talking about, you raving lunatic? Like, this is unbelievable. And he said, trust me, Labour are going to be far worse than anybody imagines. You think that you want to see the Tories get smashed and you can tolerate a Labour government. He said, I don't think you can tolerate a Labour government. So I was like, oh, okay. And then he's proved me wrong again. Because can anyone in the chat, how many of you, 669 people, can anyone in the chat honestly tell me that it would have been this bad if Rishi Sunak was in? Even though Starmer is English, because he's a quisling, he's the enemy, he's a out socialist. Like, he wouldn't have give Chagos away. He probably would have done a better job with immigration and deportations. Like, I just don't see how it wouldn't have. It probably would have stayed Sky High, maybe, but it wouldn't have been as bad. Lucy Connolly wouldn't have gone to jail under the Conservative government. There's no way. And Jacob Rees-Mogg was on the cabinet, wasn't he? People like him wouldn't have had it. They wouldn't have had it. So my point is, it's all well and good being the rightest loser in the room. I disagree with Landua and anybody else who will say it, and I'll keep saying it. Like, I'm not saying reform are good, but as it stands, we need anything to arrest the decline. If it goes past 2030, you're totally knackered. So reform can be the thin end of the wedge, and they'll be a little bit wet. But all they need to do is get us into, like, net zero, not the climate way, immigration. If reform get in and just enforce the border and deport 100,000 people a year, instantly a little bit of steam will come out the pressure cooker and everyone will go, well, this is way better. And then it'll build momentum. Right-wing policies work. Look what Trump's done. Loads of people say, oh, Trump's not really conservative. Well, he isn't. I mean, remember when he got his Bible out? Oh, I've read this Bible every day since I was a kid. It was like brand new. He just got it off Amazon the day before. Like, conservative policies work. So we need to get some people in who'll actually do some. That's all. Alan Fenwick, thanks for the Ayrton Senna. Have a wet on me. Keep up the good work. Cheers, Alan. That's just obvious to me. So, again, I don't like reform, the fannies, but the normies don't pay attention. And until someone can show me a poll where Advance are in, let's say, somewhat low, 20%. If they got to 20%, I'd start banging the drum for them. But the normies don't pay attention. And as you all remember, who've watched my lives for a long time, this was the plan. I was saying, right, I was wrong. I voted for Johnson, I was wrong. The plan is, most of it, and I was spot on with all the numbers and what was going to happen, wasn't I? Like 2-3 years ago, I said, let me tell you what's going to happen. Let me tell you exactly what's going to happen. And I was proved 100% correct. All my live streams are there. You can go back and watch them like 3-4 years ago. I was like, this is what's going to happen. Half the Tory party is going to abandon them, but half are going to be sticking the muds because they haven't got the memo, right? Normies don't pay attention. Therefore, Labour will get a massive landslide in the election. I don't care because we'll just have to tolerate Labour for 4 years and then we can finally get rid of the Tory party and finally get in a proper alternative who isn't Lib Lab Con. And that's the plan. And now, if we all pile in with Advance, the 15% of us, 10% of us that are busy online and pay attention, all that'll do is split reform in half. And you'll just get Labour in again, or the Greens. And remember, They don't even need that much of a split vote because they all band together. This is happening all across Europe. If we split the vote in half and you don't get a massive majority, you need at least 51% for the right. Because in Europe, they're doing it everywhere. They're doing it in France, doing it in Germany, doing it all over. If the right wing win with 49% of the vote, like a landslide, then you get a grand coalition. But instead of fighting Napoleon, they're fighting their own people. Then you get a grand coalition of Conservative, Labour, Lib Dem, SNP, Plaid Cymru, Greens, centrists, centre-left, centre-right, all of them, they all part together into one party, and then you get 15 parties who got hardly any votes, but they got 51% of the vote, and they're in charge over the 49% who give one party a landslide. That's what they're going to do. So if Advance get to 20%, then we'll jump ship then. But until that day, just suck it up and get with them. Like with reform. I just don't see another way. They don't pay attention. As I said, if you think they pay attention, walk in your local pub and say, remember Charlie Hebdo? And they'll all go, who the fuck's Charlie Hebdo? Does he play for Leeds? This is pointless. Pointless being a purist on the right. Just want to keep losing. Robert Wright, and I was a member of 7 trade unions. They were great, but it doesn't mean I'm a socialist. Well, I mean, again, in the 90s, it was very different to what things are now, isn't it? I wouldn't be in a trade union now because they're unbelievable. Now, we were in a decent spot in the 90s. Like, the 90s was amazing. In the 90s, we'd settled on that sweet spot where the boss didn't have all the power, but the employees didn't have all the power. And just like the Chinese have been saying for 4,000 years, balance is the key to all things. Balance is good, yin and yang. You need it. You need that to be in flux constantly. When it's like it is now, where everyone's incompetent because you can't fire an absolute mong. My mate was telling me yesterday, he was in the army, telling me they won't fire the quartermaster. He's like the SQMS or whatever he is. And he said he's like totally useless. He said he's like scared of flying, diabetes, can't run, like totally useless, but they won't sack him. Like, no, he might commit suicide if we fire him. That's what one of the officers told him on the quiet. This is who we've got in our military now. Totally useless because it's gone way too far the other way, hasn't it? Now, with Spacker Island is got an army of Mongs. That's how. But England is Spacker Island. Do you honestly think 1 in 4 people's disabled? Do you? Because that's the numbers. It's unbelievable. And again, I don't disagree with those of you saying it's pointless voting. I don't, but it's the ghost of a chance. That's all I'm saying. If we need it to totally collapse and everything gets sorted out the old-fashioned way with extreme violence, well then so be it. But I'll at least go with a ghost of a chance, a whisper of a chance, which is somehow reform gets some power and take us slightly to the right, and then all them conservative policies start working. Making people work for a living, deporting criminals. They don't have to be great. They just have to be slightly right-wing. And all them policies will work. Get everyone back to work. Cut benefits, cut spending, cut welfare, deport a few thousand people and fucking put the border in. Like, it's proper. It's not easy at all. Sorry, I'm just reading the comment. We still have time to back someone who isn't. Yeah, well, again, I've just ranted about it for 35 minutes. Like, you all know where I stand. I don't think reform are good. I despise generic. I like the Puma Trackie more than generic. I do. I think if you really look into it, Suella Braverman actually tried to do some conservative stuff, and the party hampered her. Like, I prefer her to Genrick. Genrick, the little weasel, brought all the Afghans in. So, it's unbelievable. So, yeah, prefer the Puma to the Englishman. Think of that. Think of that. It's embarrassing. I've cringe. I cringe thinking about it, but that's where we are. Anyway, let's talk about something else. Oh, did you all see my short? I thought he was going to go, these shorts are amazing. And that's did it all by itself. I just put a link into my video and this AI thing went up, just spat it out. Did the subtitles and chose the thing. Like, I don't think I'd have went with a 12-second short, but I quite like it. Look, I thought he was going to go, I was quite surprised by flaps. I've never heard anyone referred to as that. Do you know I met a man from Newcastle who called his dog that? Yes, very perplexing. Yeah, Jacob Rees. I'm thinking I have to do a lot of people have told me I should do a stream in Jacob Rees-Mogg's voice. I might try it. Like I said, like Carl Benjamin and Landua and Chris Williamson and all that. You get way better numbers if you have a posh accent. So I might try it. Like I said, Chris Williamson's from Borough. Well, Stockton. I never knew that. I read his Wikipedia and I was like, oh my God, he's the poshest Stocktonite I've ever met. Stockton, Ragworth's worse than Borough. And he proper talks like, hello chaps. Like they must go to elocution lessons because it helps with your numbers. So I'll have to try and do a whole one in my Jacob Rees-Mogg voice. The weird thing is when I do a posh accent, it changes the depth of my voice. Like I've never been to an elocution lesson. If I really try to do a posh accent, I change the tone of my voice. Like, we know, lads, we've known for 5 years. Why does my voice go deeper? I don't know. I physically can't do it. I like him as well. He's a good lad. But I'm just saying, he's a bit necky. He said, I've got no principles because I'm a realist and I want to cling to the ghost of a chance we've got, as opposed to being the most right loser in the room, which is what he'll be if we split the right-wing vote in half and don't win any seats. Because that's what you'll do. The normies don't get the memos. It took for us 20 years to build a mainstream presence. They don't get the memos. If everyone who goes online, probably about 15% of the electorate, votes for Advance, we get 0 seats because Reform will get 25% of the vote, Advance will get 15% of the vote, and we won't win a single seat. So we either get more Labour and then you don't have a country by 2035, or you pray for the ghost of a chance and think hopefully maybe Reform will do something conservative, and then within a year of them being in, everyone goes, whoa, this actually works. I never usually voted, but they've got all them doilies out them council flats and made them do some work, and they've actually deported a few thousand rapists, and my life's a little bit better. You know what I mean? Anyway, Free Speech Union was posting about it, look. Lucy Connolly, General Hermer. Hermer did it, the same traitor who sorted out the Chagos deal. Connolly got, racial hatred charge was fast-tracked. Fast-tracked. She was bam, jail. The Puma trackies who were windmilling on a policewoman's face in an airport, where have they gone? What's happened to them? Think about what I'm telling you. This is not even up for debate anymore. The UK is an apartheid state. The Puma trackie has the whip hand. Have you noticed how they're all mega racist as well? They love doing that. Ash Sarkar, she loves to go online and go, yeah, they're dying out, lads. The pasty, they use racial slurs for white people. Yeah, they're all dying out. Yeah, they love doing it because they know they can say it and you can't. She can call you every racial slur under the sun. Nothing happens to her. Tens of thousands of people have been arrested or have non-crime hate incidents on the record for being a bit racist. How many, if the law's equal, how many Africans have been arrested and charged for calling you a racial slur? Any. Has anyone ever read a paper, ever, and seen an African or an Asian get arrested for racial hatred? Ever. Because there's about 50,000 English kids have been locked up for it. So it's not even up for debate. The UK is an apartheid state. And that's what I said there. I said, we know. We know for 5 years. Jail if you talk. Suspended sentence if you're African or Asian and you do a bit of diddling. It's a known fact at this point. ISIS, Antifa's like ISIS. They are completely mental. The US government actually is arresting these dickheads. It's about time. Yeah, did you read about that one? Stephanie Irons, 23. You know what's sad about that? It's really sad that because we're evolved primates, we men have got such an aversion to fat lasses. Like, sounds cruel, doesn't it? But I don't think it is. It's not misogynistic either. If you look at the disparity between dating now, all women have to be, because men are so desperate now. This online stuff, social media, the apps, it's made women go crazy. Young women are crazy. They really do. Again, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir with my channel. You guys all pay attention. If you watch some of them dating YouTube commenters, sorry I missed that, I haven't done all right. Sorry, Carl, I'm not repeating that 30-minute tirade. You'll have to go back and watch it. And Tess, thanks for the deep sea diver. Much appreciated. Women now, because of apps, they've become ultra picky. So all the birds are going after 7 out of 10 and above men. Whereas all the blokes, they'll take what they can get. And you get these little dumpy fat lasses going oh, he has to be 6 foot. I've seen them myself. I'm not making this stuff up. This is the grains of truth that you get out of the likes of Andrew Tate. What is true is we've all got one of them. We've all got one of them. Told you we had a Christmas party at 4-2 Commando, and this is when I was a kid. I'm not advocating this behaviour. I was about 21, and they said for the Christmas party, every single bloke had to bring a fat bird. So everyone was going out into the town the day before and Plymouth Friday night and just getting with fat lasses just for a piss take. No one's interested in actually pursuing a relationship with them. And the next day it was unbelievable. It was company piss up, so there's about 115 blokes there, right? And of the blokes there, there's 90 obese women. It was unbelievable. They knew it was a circus. It's shocking behaviour, really. I'm somewhat embarrassed about it now, but because it's cringe looking back. They knew, every bloke in the room's buff and every bird in the room's a fatty. They knew. But what I'm getting at is, all joking aside, it's unfair that it's had this that men are shallow as fuck about that. But you can't blame us for being shallow when they're throwing out all these ridiculous standards for the men to have some. Because that isn't fair, is it? The women are because I'll tell you what, I'll do it on an and each. This is the men, this is the women. Women's standards, they say he has to be at least 6'1". He has to be earning 6 figures. He has to be handsome and good looking and have good fashion sense and look after his skin. He has to go to the gym regularly. And he has to, like my friends' family, back troopers, kids from other relationship, back troopers. And with men, and tell me I'm a lying, lads. You know what ours are for women? Don't be fat. That's it. You all know it's true. Seriously. Another one, way more common, dreamboat body, shipwreck face. Blokes are pretty happy with that. All a bird has to do is not be a fat knacker. It's really weird. If a bird's got a really good figure but a bit of a wonky face, That's fine. As long as she's got a good personality and she's nice. Like, so because of that, fat birds aren't getting any action, are they? Because all the men who are like 7 out of 10 and above, if these women are going to have 5, 6, 7, 8 criteria, the good-looking men are just going, oh, I'm not going out with fat birds then. I've only got one. You all know it's true. A bloke doesn't care about money. You know, see how hypergamy and all the women are like, oh, I want to go out with a bloke who's rich. Blokes will go out with it. I have never cared how much a bird makes, ever. When you're a man, you don't. Like, ever since I got to aerospace, I've never made less than 50 grand a year. It's a well-paid job. I've never ever considered what money is. Like, I'd go out with the checkout bird. If I was in Tesco and the bird behind the counter was batting her eyelids at me and she was nice looking, I'd take her out. I'd be like, do you want to go out for a drink? See how we get on. Might have chemistry. A bloke, a well-off, decent-looking bloke will marry a bird who works behind the counter in Tesco. But we won't go out with a fatty. And I haven't. Like, I've never took one to a dance, but I've never rattled a bird who's heavier than me. It's like something I'm quite proud of. Because it's just, I don't like it. I don't like massive fat birds. Another thing, blokes they don't have to be proper skinny. Men are willing to tolerate a bit more than women think we do. One of my first girlfriends was quite big, I guess you could say. She had big hips and big tits, but she was still several stone lighter than me. Like, they don't have to be skinny. But they just don't have to be a fat knacker. And unfortunately, this bird was a fat knacker. So, because think about it. I'm not being... Have you seen the pictures of her? If she was skinny, she'd be like an 8 out of 10. She's nice looking. Well, maybe a 7. But she's not a bad looking lass. But because she's 23, she's going out with a bloke called Adi Bagdibola, who's 40. What's a fit 23-year-old lass going out with a 40-year-old Agdibola for? So it's a shame that if women hadn't been brainwashed for the last 20 years, it's a two-pronged assault on them, isn't it? It's brainwashed by the apps to say, know your worth, yes queen, why settle? Yes, the man has to be at least 6'2" and earn 6 figures. Yes queen. And we're all identical. You're at no more risk of being stabbed to death by Adigadigadegadibola, 40, than you are John Williams, 26, from Slough. That's what they've told them. So it's a two-pronged assault. They're too fussy to go out with the local boys, and they're not fussy enough when it comes to Adibagadagadabola. So that's what killed her. And that's what I said there. There's no way. If that was if she was raised by me, the tragedy would have never have happened. Because she wouldn't have dated a bloke called Adibadibagabagabola. Wouldn't have happened. A bit of sensible prejudice is a survival skill. Anthony Joshua taught me that, yeah. When he was legally going on television and ranting about not giving white people anything. Remember that? Perfectly legal. If you look like Anthony Joshua. Christ, the bloke, going off on a tangent back to what we just were talking about, the bloke from Kneecap overtly supports terror, no charges. The bloke, Bob Villain goes on stage and says, murder people. Ricky the Councillor Ricky, there's 3 I've just reeled off the top of my head. Councillor Ricky goes in front of an angry mob and says, does the action and says, cut. I don't even want to say the whole sentence what he said. Might get me through off the platform. 3 people who advocate murder. And every one of them got let off. But Lucy Connolly, 3 years in jail. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, that's mental, innit? That's mental. Shame that, though. Shame. The moral of the story, don't go out with anyone that has Adegbola in the name. Because a lot of them have done that. I don't know why. There's so many Ungwankbos and Ungbolas out there. I don't know why. Maybe that's like Taylor or Smith in Nigeria. Then this lunatic's having a go at her. Oh, we've got to save Lucy Connolly from herself. Yeah, because Sangeeta knows that they'll lock up Lucy Connolly for just talking. But Sangeeta can promote murder and they won't say anything about it because she's the product of cousin marriage, which therefore gives you special rules, doesn't it? Which is what I said to her, look. Why would anyone listen to a BBC journalist product of cousin marriage? If your brain wasn't broke from the incest, it'd have been broken by your continued employment. Yeah, I can type it because I'm in the USA, but you probably couldn't. Yeah, because the UK is a joke. I think we'll end on Zia. Because I've just been saying, I'm not a class warrior, and I'm not right-wing enough to be an outright race warrior. As I've said, I'm a 90s nationalist. Zia Yusuf is not top of my list for deputations. Steve Laws, I don't hate him. I don't disagree with the vast majority of what he says. But I'm a realist. The idea that you deport people like him and Sunak when we've got 5 million far, far, far worse ones to worry about is ludicrous. Again, you can disagree all you like. No hatred for people like that on my channel because I make common cause with my allies. But I don't agree with them. Saying we should be wasting time deporting people like him is ignoring the 7 million illegal immigrants, however many there is. It's, again, that's what I'm saying, Jackson French. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I disagree with that. If we lived in an ideal world and Britain was 98% illegal immigrant free, well, then we'll start on the likes of Mr. Yusuf. But it isn't, and we're never going to be. So instead of this is what I do think it is. I think it's shameless self-promotion. I think people that outright say, I'll never, ever, ever vote for reform, are doing it because they want to be the rightest loser in the room. They're making themselves look good and it makes them feel good to go, see, Bootneck, see, I told you reform were going to be weak. Well, I don't think they're going to be strong. But I'll take the whisper of the ghost of a chance of us rescuing our nation through diplomatic means than doing it the old-fashioned way. Because we're probably going to end up having to do it the old-fashioned way anyway. But I'm not a vainglorious man. I'm a very confident man. I was a bootneck and I'm confident and boisterous, and earning my Green Beret made me that way. I'm happy to tell you something that might make me look bad. I don't have to be like so many of these commentators who wants to be the rightest loser in the room. So I'll disagree with Landua and whoever else it is who says never, ever, ever vote for reform ever, because I think that's vainglorious. They want to be able to say to me when reform are wet and left-wing, see, well, I haven't disagreed with you, and I know the wet and left-wing, but I'm not a vainglorious man. I'm happy for you to say see, if it gives us the whisper of a chance of rescuing the country via diplomatic means. And if it doesn't, well, we'll do it the old-fashioned way. But we were going to do that anyway if it's Labour and the Greens and Lib Dems are winning all elections. So I would recommend grasping the whisper of a chance, and Plan B is what we're going to have to do anyway. All right? So tell me that logic doesn't make sense. And I'm putting out to anyone out there who says you'll never ever vote for them. Carl and there's a lot of my members who think I'm a wet lefty. I'll put that question to you. If reform are as bad as you think they're going to be, well, we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way anyway. But there's a sliver of a chance that they'll get in, do some conservative stuff, deport a couple of 100,000 people, and then everyone will go, whoa, this is way better. Let's do this. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that's 57 minutes and 8 seconds. You can have that for now, ladies and gents. I'll be back on tomorrow. You can think on what I've said and argue with me again tomorrow. All right? Have I missed much? Could you do a recap? No. When you shout as much as me do, your vocal cords die after about an hour. So, yeah, that's my opinions on the matter. If you want to disagree, have at it in the comments. I'll be on tomorrow. I've messaged Dino Bain. I'm going to try and get him on for a stream. We haven't seen him for a few months. So maybe that'll happen. All right, if not, see you all tomorrow. Have a marvellous Friday night. And don't forget to like and share that bloody video I put in the chat. In fact, is it still in the comments? Yeah, that one. Stick it on in the background. Turn the volume down. See you later. See you tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.